Are you hoping to get the most money for your home when you sell? Of course you are. That is a no-brainer. And there may be a few other things that you're concerned about too, such as the terms, maybe needing a little extra time to move or something. These are the places where hiring an experienced and trained negotiator can really help you, both reducing the stress of your transaction and putting a lot more money in your pocket. Over the last 15 years of being in real estate, I've negotiated hundreds of deals, and in particular, sales of older homes, and they are a special talent. What's important for you to understand is that in every sale, there are potentially 3 negotiations. At minimum, there will be 2. The first negotiation is getting you the very best price and terms on the purchase contract from the buyer. And I do this using a number of techniques, even beginning before we put your home on the market, in how we prepare it for marketing. Over the last 15 years, I've helped hundreds of buyers and sellers get the right deal, save money, and reduce their stress. This is because I am both experienced and I am trained in negotiations. Negotiations are particularly important when you're selling a vintage home because they do have some quirks that aren't found on a house that is maybe only 5 or 10 years old. This might come as a surprise, but most real estate transactions have at minimum 2, if not 3, different negotiations that need to take place. The first one is the one that you're probably already thinking about. How do you get the very best price and terms from the buyer on the initial contract? And that is very important. And even that starts before we put your house on the market. It is part of the preparation of your home. That goes into some details that I don't have time to share with you here, but a lot of that's in these other videos, so I suggest watching them. The second negotiation is during the buyer's due diligence process. They're going to do a lot of inspections, and no matter how much we try to get your home ready, they will find a few things. If those things are health or safety issues, chances are you're going to need to address those. But a lot of times buyers try to get a little something extra, particularly in older homes, because there's going to be plenty to find in a vintage home. They're just quirky that way, and that's why you want a specialist in vintage homes, because I can fight for you to keep you from having to pay out the nose for silly requests. The third negotiation is the buyer's appraisal. Occasionally appraisals come in low, and this is going to be more likely that an appraisal will either come in really high or really low, which is more of a problem, in a neighborhood where you have homes of all different architectural styles, ages, and even conditions. Sometimes it's as individual as the layout of a home that really doesn't make it the same as your beautiful flowing home. Because I am deeply immersed in these neighborhoods, I understand how to fight back when there are appraisal issues. We can address having the appraisal reevaluated, or we can also work out another solution with the buyers. Again, this is why you want an experienced negotiator who knows old homes inside and out, who knows the difference between a ceiling this tall and that tall in the comparable that's being used against your home. I've had to deal with a lot of these appraisal situations, and I know how to handle them to keep the most money in your pocket as possible. And while we've focused a lot on the financial side of negotiations, sometimes those negotiations are simply about making sure that you get the best terms. Maybe through the process you need a little more leeway to move, or something else comes up. That is what I'm there for, to help this process also be less stressful. And a lot of times that comes down to a very smooth, experienced, and trained negotiator, which I am. And while we've focused a lot on the financial side of the transaction, there are other negotiations that take place too. Some of those are terms. And this is important, especially in a competitive market, because a buyer will try to get the longest time possible before being fully committed to your deal. They may want an extra long due diligence or extra time financing. I always seek to tighten those times up. Also, we want to know that the buyer is putting down a significant amount of earnest money. so that they have some real skin in this game. That way we reduce the chances that they're going to back out at the 11th hour. Lastly, there are just simply terms that will make your life easier in the process, such as a lease back, extra time to move, perhaps without having to pay for that extra time to move. These are all things that I can do throughout the negotiation process for you. As a certified residential specialist, a designation that only 3% of realtors in the U.S. has, I have been trained in negotiations. Additionally, in order to be a residential specialist, I had to document my experience and my training, so you can rest assured that you are in capable hands and that you have a strong, savvy negotiator on your side. I'm Erika Wiggins, and I specialize in selling vintage homes in Salt Lake City. So if you have any questions about selling your home, please feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to help.